DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlemagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. I'm just kidding. It's AposThriceGreat. And today I brought you guys some completely mediocre, totally average, run-of-the-mill gameplay on Sunken Hill, which I think is part of the Dragon's Nest DLC. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as you can see, I'm trying and failing with the M98B. I'm not really that much of a sniper. It's not my thing. I really prefer the DMRs, like the SKS and the SCAR. And as you'll see later on, I finesse with that. But what I wanted to talk to you guys today about, and what I wanted to kind of pick your brains on, is cultural appropriation. And now, what is that? Cultural appropriation is the adoption or use of elements from one culture by members of another culture. And with that definition, I think it's okay. It gets the basics right, but it ignores the historical context and associated negative connotation around the words cultural appropriation, right? And so to give some insight on that negative connotation, how about a real world example? And so you see this all the time. Let's look at the way that society treats black women on issues, well, not issues, but on topics such as, hair, like braids, dreads, on topics like having full lips, having curvy bodies, right? As opposed to the way that they treat women like the Kardashians or somebody like Yes Jules, who are arguably culture vultures, right? So on black women, braids and dreads have always been, kind of looked at in American society and Western society as a whole as being, like unruly, ghetto, unprofessional, whatever. But as soon as they're on like the Kardashians, suddenly it's trendy, hip, sexy, cool, fashionable, edgy. Like full lips have always been criticized and ridiculed in America on black women until when they're on like the Kardashians, like say like Kylie Jenner, who had to pay for them. It's suddenly like sexy and like, like really attractive and desirable. And so there's like this huge dichotomy, this huge double standard that goes right along with cultural appropriation, and that's part of the reason that it has such a big negative connotation, because it's kind of like engaging with the culture itself, with aspects of the culture that that you find cool or profitable or desirable or whatever, without engaging with the people that create these things and live these things on the daily in a genuine way. And there's a gigantic disconnect there, and it's not cool. So but the cultural appropriation that actually brought this to my attention recently is actually something that takes place primarily within the black community itself, where cisgendered, heterosexual black people use a lot of the slang and like terminology that's been created by the black LGBTQ community. Words like edges, slayed, snatched, like just anything funny or dope that you hear black people saying today is 99% of the time directly from the black LGBTQ community. And at the same time, even though cisgendered heterosexual black people use a lot of this, culture and partake in it, in like a very organic, genuine way, at the same time, on a lot of issues that specifically affect the black LGBTQ community, we're silent on things like the fact that black trans people are murdered at the same or higher rates than black men, and it gets no national attention, it gets no news coverage, and you rarely if ever see that same level of support for those victims, things like that. And it's just another example of like engaging with like the the cool, funny, dope parts of the culture without engaging in the actual people themselves. And that's where I feel like the problem of cultural appropriation is really centered. So I just want to know what you guys think on that. Like, do you think that cultural appropriation is really a problem? Do you think it's something we should address? Do you think that there are ways to positively engage in appreciation of another's culture in an uplifting way? And just leave your ideas, comments, whatever discussion in the comments below. And thank you guys for watching. Once again, it's AposThriceGreat, and stay woke.